midst of a crisis, governments are legislating anti-democratic measures against long-acquired human rights, anti-social and anti-labor actions based on the inability of the world to react actively. The opportunity to implement unpopular changes arises, constitutions are disregarded, overnight legislation acts are secretly voted, only to be announced as a necessary step to maintain normality and stability the next day. Education, work, and consequently the whole reality is concentrated and adapted in a two-dimensional electronic effigy of what it previously was. The media adopts an attitude of terror, misinformation and mass panic, systematically directing the interest of the citizens in the numbers and statistics of the pandemic without mentioning other issues. The focus is on individual responsibility, while the state bears all the blame on you. The police and the army get increased power due to the emergency situation. Because we believe in the power of the collective response, we cannot let these issues go unmentioned. As artists, we would like to invite you to submit your reactions in the form of artworks to our monthly zine. This was the original statement of Zine.without.a.crown, still in effect, as conceived in March 2020 by our small collective. We are the people behind ZWaC, an independent, not-for-profit DIY zine created at the very beginning of the pandemic and launched in April of 2020. Since then, ZWaC has received hundreds of submissions of artists from all over the world, and we have managed to create 10 volumes with artists' visuals and written reactions to a great variety of topics, from political commentary to LGBTQ rights, human rights, responses to aggression and oppression, the right to free and safe abortions, opposition to fake news, and so many others. As artists ourselves, we found it imperative to create an open and free platform through which artists can share with the world, and by extension other artists too, the reactions on so many important issues that affect us all. It is not uncommon for people to filter and react to situations through the medium of their choice, be it painted, drawn, printed, written, photographed, performed, and so on. In times of political instability, radical change, and increased oppression, usually on the backs of people who do not have the means or the channels to be heard, we created ZWaC as a haven for artists, professional or not, to be able to voice their concerns and feelings freely, eponymously or anonymously. Our reaction to a world that is crumbling is to try and give voice to the ones that need to be heard.
Somewhere in between of worrying rapid global changes, COVID-19 pandemic, political abuse of human rights, we believe in the power of independent initiatives and socially engaged art. Zine.without.a.crown is a platform for any interested person. No censorship, no competition, no entering fee. We want to know what's happening in your part of the world, in your city, in your social group. Help us create a community of independent artists brave enough to speak up when the media outlets don't give us this chance. In our opinion, art should be inclusive and available for all.
As mentioned, Zine.without.a.crown is an open call-based zine. In each volume we present works from all artists that respond to it. It is a great challenge every time to assemble the zine, to communicate with all the artists, to design both digital and printed versions, to print and bind the hard copies, to open a new call for the next volume, and all of it again. In the creation process, the source of zine power, being multi-authors publication, has one main feature, which is both a pro and a con: unpredictability. As we don't know until the last day of the open call how many artists decided to share with us their reactions, the planning of the volumes, especially the printed version, becomes quite complicated. If we want to plan ahead, we need to think about the binding before we see all the works, or even before we know the exact amount of pages. Then, according to the submissions, we need to adjust or change our initial plan, sometimes even try something different. From our experience, multiple authors' publication generates the bigger need to double-check everything, as the only constant thing is that the zine is published once a month. Each volume we are sharing different works from different artists about different issues from different perspectives. In this way, we are getting multiple voices from multiple authors, which was the main idea behind the zine. We believe in the power of the artistic response, and running ZWaC as a multi-author publication allows us to share this belief, questioning and undermining the status quo, commenting on reality or new realities, as called nowadays, The various artists taking part in ZWaC are giving us partial insights into the worldwide and local urgent matters. Another advantage of multi-authors publication is the possibility to create the third meaning by juxtaposing the works. Starting with a blank spread, different artworks can empower each other, contrast or complement, in all cases enhancing the meanings of both. That allows us to keep the publishing process of each volume regular but not repetitive. We are not an editorial publication. We see ZWaC more like a platform, a space where everyone's voice is equally important.
To keep our zine accessible to as many people as can be, we have a digital version available for everyone. In addition, we make every issue also in printed form. Every physical volume is slightly different. We experiment with the format of the book. It comes from our interest in artist books, bookbinding, and printed forms in general. It is important to keep diversity in the formats in response to various and subversive contents of the zines. We are making every zine slightly different to preserve its uniqueness and to avoid repeatability. We keep the form relatively simple to produce. It is around A5 size and entirely black and white. This is the most universal form worked out for our zine, suitable both for poster-like submissions, detailed illustrations, and written works. It also maintains low production costs. Printing, binding, and sending to be still accessible. We also try to spread the idea behind our zine by participating in events like zine exhibitions, talks, or adding the zine to libraries such as Sherwood Zine Library. Everyone can take part in ZWaC without any entry fee or participation cost. The zine is available online, and it is possible to order printed copies at their production cost. We are keen on keeping it this way, and we do not have any economic or otherwise profit. We create, design, maintain, produce and develop ZWaC in our free time and are happy to do so. Not everything in this world has to cost money or come with a price tag.